Hello, listeners. This is the New Persona Podcast. Stay tuned for the key to your new lifestyle with your host, Femi Doyle-Marshall.
All right, it's recording. Super excited.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 4 of the New Persona Podcast. Coach Jason McLean coming at you for his first live appearance on this recording. How's everybody doing today?
Pretty good. I think today's a good day.
Got Coach Femi in the building. Got Alex in the building.
Welcome,
gentlemen.
Jason. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for actually being officially on the podcast. Now we got your voice on the intro.
Better late than never, man.
All
you
right.
know, this is something I'm excited to do. Glad to be with you guys, and let's do some potting. Hey. So, gentlemen, to start off episode 4, So let me tell you what's kind of been going through my mind. I finally got around to cracking open Femi's book, Reboot, which is available. Femi, just let the listeners know.
MyRebootBook.com. Make sure you get your copy. It's all about transforming your life. Breakthrough every day.
Yeah. It's taken me a while to finally crack this open, but you know what? Nothing happens before the time, and I would like to say that it is an absolute good read, regardless of what walk of life you come from, regardless of what situation you may be facing. To give the listeners a little bit of a breakdown as to why I've been absent for so long is I've been dealing with a little bit of grief. I recently lost my father, and I've been down in the dumps, battling depression, just trying to pick up the pieces of my life and literally reboot and get back to being who I am.
Yeah.
And there's been no greater tool that I have used in the last couple of weeks more than this Reboot book.
Wow.
First things first, Femi, thank you for so much for giving me the tools to help me get out of this funk that I've been in. You couldn't have given me any better advice than what you've given me in this book, and I hope that the messages in that book could touch as many lives out there and impact them the same way it's impacted mine.
I appreciate that. You know, I think when I think about how the concepts for Reboot just kind of manifested, it literally just manifested. You know, and it seems like every single chapter has a connection to somebody. Like there's a purpose to each section of the book to help somebody either get out of a situation or get into a better situation. You know, so I didn't know what would have happened in your life this recent. You know, and it just so happened that this book came at the same time that it's like, here you go. So I'm happy that you're here, part of the tribe coaching, you know, and I'm even more grateful that you found value in Reboot. So, yeah.
Excellent stuff.
I think that part of the message, or what makes the messages in Reboot powerful, is when, and not just Reboot, but when you pick up a book or a movie, when you feel that is written for you, and you feel that, how does the author know that I'm going through this? This is delivered to my point where I am in life right now, and it makes a difference. So it's almost like that author has written it specifically for you, and it means so much more than just words on a paper. It's something that is a message that stays with you, and you can keep that with you. You know, keep it close to you, and you know that is something that you can take with you beyond just the words on the paper.
Powerful stuff, yeah. So without actually leaking too many of the excellent tips and brilliant advice being passed on in this book, we're just gonna kind of glance over some of the key things that I gravitated towards as I finally got a chance to reading it. The very first chapter, Femi opens up about his blessings and abundances. Now, Femi will close off this topic by elaborating more on what drove him to mention all the people and mention the things in Blessings and Abundance that he felt it was needed for anyone who picked up the book to understand. But before we get into that, I'm just going to break down how I interpreted that and what I reflected on as I was reading that. So, like I said, I was going through a little bit of a hard time dealing with the grief of losing my father, but Blessings and Abundance, when I read his chapter and I specifically saw that he mentioned my name, greatly appreciate it. it made me realize that I've lost one loved one, but I have plenty of loved ones around me. I have plenty of blessings and plenty of abundances around me. Femi, you're one of them, and the New Persona Tribe has been there for me since day one. I've been part of this since 2017,
Last
and
hands up too.
Coach Malad is in the building, by the way, guys. That's another one of my brothers. That's another one of the New Persona Tribe members that I can't thank enough for being there for me during my times of trials and tribulations. But that's what New Persona is all about. We are a family. We are a community. We are a bond. Continuing on, I have a lot of important family members. My mother's still around for me. I have siblings, my sister and my stepbrother. I have friends. I have loved ones. And that is my blessings and that's my abundances. I am not struggling from a financial standpoint. I am doing well for myself. I am in school and I still have a whole heap of potential and I have a lot of life to live. So that was the first things that kind of came to the center of my mind as I was reading Femi reflect on his blessings and abundances. Guys, feel free to take the floor and, give a shout out to your loved ones, the people that you feel blessed to have in your life and your abundances.
Of course. So when I was reading that, the first part that I actually liked in the book was when he says this book is dedicated to you or is written for you. And it's like, sometimes you see it for a loved one, that of the author who wrote the book. But when you read that this book is written for me, and then you read beyond that these specific people impacted Femi's life to a point where he was able to write this book for you, those are the blessings that he has in his life and that he's passing on to whoever picks up that book and chooses to read that book. And the abundance is having all those people around you as well that are not there to take from you, but to empower you to do great things and to do more with your life. And as you, Jason, said that you had a loss in your life, and it's never easy. You never really forget, but the fact that Femi is acknowledging all these things, and even he says to New Persona members and alumni, even the people who are not here with us at this point in time, he's mentioning him, and he's giving them praise for impacting his life in such a way that was able to move him and shape him to the person that wrote this powerful tool.
It's true. And I think, when I think about blessings, a lot of the times we're sitting there always expecting something more. And I'm smiling because I'm thinking about the state I was in before this podcast. I have to reboot myself every single day. Sometimes I forget my blessings. You forget you woke up today. You're awake.
Take for granted, yeah.
You're awake. You're listening. You can hear all the words that's coming out of our mouths. You can comprehend the information that we're speaking to you. It's a blessing to be present. It's a blessing to be able to absorb information and pass information on to other people. I think that is the true blessing behind the book, Reboot. I'm blessed to be here to get the message, to pass it through from the experiences I've had. The abundance, exactly what Alex said, the abundance is all of the resources around me that allowed me to experience great things and some really horrible things. Those things shaped my perspective to understand what is required to reboot. And yeah, it's not something that you can really just take for granted. You have to actually acknowledge it. And I think the more that you acknowledge what you're blessed with, the more abundance you get at the same time. That's kind of what I believe.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that leads to one of the other messages in the book is that you have to know where your vision is before you can start on that path to that vision. Like you mentioned, one of the parts that I highlighted in the book is where you say it's like trying to bake a cake without having three-tier buttermilk cake without having the.
He's coming.
We'll get into that in a second. We're going to get into depth with the vision aspect of it, finding your vision. That is a huge piece of Reboot, and we don't want to overlook it and just kind of skip through. We're going to give it its fair due in a minute. But before we wrap up on the blessings and abundance part, I'm going to make a statement here, and I'm going to kind of cultivate it into a question for you, Femi. It's safe to say that anyone who is looking to self-improve and to ultimately reboot that it is you're motivated by self-love. It's motivated in identifying that you want to improve the person you are. You want to be better tomorrow than you were today.
Yeah.
But the blessings and abundances gives a lot of credit to the people around you, your support system.
Yeah.
And I just want to form a question to you as how important is it to reflect on those people around you before you can make that change? Because ultimately, when people are making changes for themselves, it does have a greater impact and it does help the people around them.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to acknowledge the role that people play in your life. You know, I had this conversation with Winnie last night where I was just like, there was a moment where I slipped up, didn't even process how much value she provides being in my life. You know, and people don't process this stuff when they do their day-to-day stuff. They take, you're going to work, you're going to school, that's just a part of the things you do. Yet there are the people that's around you that are allowing you to maintain that level of focus to achieve that outcome. You know, the moments where you're not sure if you can pass that exam. Somebody's there in your corner like, hey, you can do this, right? Those moments where you're like, man, I don't know if I can make it to work, and that person's decided to chauffeur you so you can get to that exam or get to work on time, you know? That situation. I'm going into another conversation I had today. You're faced with a difficult conversation we got to have with somebody, and it's really going to change the dynamic of that relationship, and that person that's next to you is like, this is how you do it, right? They're coaching and guiding you on that process. You can't take those things for granted, right? And if you don't realize how blessed you are to have access, I went on a tangent. There's different types of capital. This is not even in the book, so I'll probably make another book on this one. But like, there's different types of capital. There's like human capital, which are like individuals and resources around you, like human beings. That's capital. That's power as well. But then there's also capital, as in financial capital, as in funds. What most people don't realize is human capital is extremely more powerful than just financial. So if I can go talk to 10 people that can help me move forward, it's better than me having $10,000. The $10,000 can go away, and I still have nobody around me. Yet if I have access to 10 people that can generate $100,000, that changes the level, right? So it's understanding that the people around you play that role that can actually help move you forward. So yeah, like you got to recognize that you're blessed, and the individuals around you provide abundance into your life.
That was awesome. All right. I know we could talk about, obviously, I mean, we're all blessed people. Let's go. I mean, I can only say that. I'm trying to be as humble as possible to say that, but
you're blessed listening too, huh? You're blessed too.
Amen to that for sure. All of our listeners, everyone who's part of this new persona community, everyone that is just out there trying to reboot and make themselves better. I mean, we all start from our blessings. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's podcast, and that is really focused on chapter 1 of Reboot, which is steps to making a breakthrough. More specifically, finding your vision and finding resources.
That's Alex's favorite section. He's already smiling right now.
So Alex did touch on this just a couple minutes ago. And now, Alex, I would like you to kind of resume in terms of what does finding your vision mean to you. I'll follow up and let you know how I feel about that chapter in a minute.
Sure, of course. So as I was reading this, I like to look for things that make sense to me and that resonate with me. And one of the ones that stood out for me was, defining your vision. And it's similar to trying to, write a story, because your life is really just a story. It's your story, right? So if you don't know where your story is going, how can you go on that path? I mean, if you figure, how are you going to, if you're going to go on a road trip somewhere and you have no idea how you're going to get there, you put the direction into the GPS and you follow it. You wouldn't just drive in the general direction to where it is, because you won't know. You might get close, but you want to have an idea of how you're going to get there. You want to be on the right path, right? So that's part of the vision, having that vision, knowing where you're going, so that way you can make the story make the path that you want to go on. And the thing that I liked here was, it says, starting something without having a plan is like expecting to bake a 3-tier buttermilk toffee cake without a recipe. You can't. I mean, you can think that it's gonna work, but it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna taste the way you anticipate it to taste. And I mean, I want to ask. I mean, why did you choose that out of everything?
I just thought about my mom baking. I really did. My mom's like a master chef. Like she can make anything, but she has this mindset where she doesn't like following recipes.
Yeah.
So I just thought of that logic, you know, where it's like you can be a master at many things.
Yeah.
Like you can be master at, let's say, a few things, right? You're really good at cooking. You're really good at like organizing stuff, but you still gotta have the process in place to know how to achieve that outcome. So I really I thought about something where I was like, if I realistically don't know how to bake, and I just assumed I can make this thing,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. You know, and you can apply that to business. You can apply that to health. You can apply that to like finance. You can apply that to like spirituality. You can apply that to like any area of family relationships. If you're like, I want a successful relationship, and then you don't have a blueprint of how that actually looks like, or I want to get in shape. I want to be able to lift 500 pounds on a deadlift, and you're like, all right, let me just do like push-ups instead. You're not gonna get to that deadlift goal. Like you have to like know exactly what you're doing, and then achieve the outcome by the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me interject here. So, finding your vision to me, there's finding your vision, and I really want to stress your vision. That's like how I kind of interpreted that chapter, is because everybody has a vision. Other people even have visions for you. You may feel that other people directing you, advising you, and it may come from a good place. I'm someone who does surround themselves with a lot of empowering people, a lot of uplifting people, and they do obviously want to see me do well. But they have a vision that is different from my own. When I took time to sit back and reflect on what my personal vision is for myself, not what other people's vision is for myself, that's when I really, really, really started to lock into this book and really commit myself into following the instructions that are being provided in this book. A lot of people know that I'm a big-time sports fan, that I've had a dream of becoming a broadcaster for as long as I can remember, but I've gone about executing that vision the way it was told I had to follow it. Go to school the typical way, build experience, internships, network, etc., etc. That is what has brought me, but me finding my vision is what has led to me contributing to this podcast right here and now. Yeah. Is controlling an element that I felt was controllable in myself and me executing it. Learning the craft, doing a podcast in an independent way with people that I'm comfortable with, friends who have the same type of vision for myself as I do for myself. And now it is teamwork instead of being coach. It's a little bit different. Like student, pupil to coach, there's a different level of viewership. You idolize your coach. You look up to your coach. As where I'm the type of person that was intimidated by that aspect of being advised by people who I viewed in higher positions than me. I am now taking charge of my vision and learning what I need to learn on an equal playing field with people that I look at eye to eye, my peers, people who may not have the same vision or may not want to take this to the same levels that I want to take it, but at the same time have the tools that I need to succeed in this lane that I'm trying to pursue. That's another element that Femi did touch in the book, is identifying that you can't do this by yourself.
Yeah, you need more stuff. You always need
understanding your vision is understanding that the right kind of help to seek out, the right kind of assistance, the right kind of resources are there for you. Now, I don't want to dig too deep into the resources aspect because that's coming later on, guys. Just bear with me. But once I was able to identify, reflect on what vision I had for myself and how that was aligned with the people around me that I could work with, that's when things start to become a little bit more clear, and that's when I was able to put pen to paper and really execute what I am trying to do. And
I'm gonna add on that too.
Take it away.
Yeah,
take it away. Come in.
What's in my head is like even like the vision stuff. Like what most people don't realize is you have to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? Like, same example with you with the podcast example for right now, right? You've always had this vision of being in broadcasting, sports broadcasting. That vision can line you up to achieve the outcome. Like, you just end up attracting resources and opportunities that produce that outcome you're looking for. I can use I can use the example of here, where we are right now in Brampton running our fitness programs. 3.5 years ago, I had the vision that we'd be running programs out of this gym full. 3.5 years, right? Now we're in the office with a whiteboard, and we're the only ones really in this building right now on this lower level, right? So it's that vision that you have to instill in your mind of what you're doing. It's you're always going to be facing an uphill battle to achieve that. And I talk about in the book that mountain. You're gonna be going uphill to achieve these things. Yet you have to have that thing in your mind and be like, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. This is where I want to go. And then you start attracting those tools and those resources that actually produce those outcomes, right? So yeah.
Right. I think that it's good when you say that you had this vision all those years ago that you wanted to create something, and maybe along the way you had people said that that's not going to work out.
You always have people hating on you.
All the time. Even if it's a good idea or it's a stupid idea, people are always hating on you. But that's just life. People are haters. But it's really powerful when you have your vision and you execute every part of the vision, even if other people can't see that vision. Yeah. You can see it. You can see it off in the distance. You take one step, whether it's a small step or a huge leap. You take a step in the right direction, and you're going no matter whether those people are going on that same path with you or not. You're still going that way. You're going in that direction, and that action of you going there and knowing that nothing is going to stop my vision.
Yeah.
Like you're a train. You're just going no matter what. If you're going to get on board. If you're not going to get on board, then get off. Right.
I want to add. There's so much stuff that's dropped right now.
Go into it because I could add on to that point as well. But yeah, carry on.
Where my mind is going right now. Whatever your goal is right now, whether it's like get in better shape, get stronger, dominate like your industry, whatever you're doing for career, business. That vision, where my mind is going, is if you want to be a visionary of your life, you have to have a vision. Like, if you don't have that vision of what it is you're doing, creating that purpose deeper within you to achieve that outcome, you can end up stuck. And I talk to the team about this all the time, where I'm like, if you don't have the vision of where you want to go, somebody's going to dictate that for you. You actually mentioned that too, Jason, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't have that, this is why I'm doing it. I've had people that told me you need to go work here. I've had people telling me you got to stop doing this.
Me too.
I've had people tell me many things, but they couldn't see what I was seeing 3.5 years from that moment. Even right now, there's stuff in my head that this podcast happened like years ago, where I visualized a lot of these things that are happening. Me sitting in the office talking to everybody here, this was in the vision. Like, this is, you don't just haphazardly end up at the top of a mountain. like if we're talking about like celebration stuff, raps, crushing things, you think they just accidentally just ended up champions? Like, that doesn't happen. Like, you actually have to have that vision and you execute on those steps to get to that outcome. Like, point blank.
Yeah. The point that I'm going to make here is that imagine the vision, the grand big picture of the vision. The vision is you placing a bet on yourself. That is you adding up and you putting down X amount of dollars on yourself.
Yep. Bet on you.
Betting on you. Other people, they may place bets on you, but that may be minuscule. Where some person may bet $1 on you, how much you bet on yourself is priceless.
Big.
Once you realize what your vision is, that is something that will always reassure you that you are on a mission.
Yep.
That is just, it is like keeping that lottery ticket in your back pocket and saying, that's how much I bet on myself on.
I got this in the bank.
No matter, the biggest obstacle for you executing that vision is your own self-doubt. That's why it's important to have that vision laid out. Have that lottery ticket in your back pocket. This way you could reach for it and remind yourself that that's how much this is worth. That's how much your vision can get you. That's how I'm gonna close out that topic there.
I like that. Let's keep going. Let's keep digging into
Of
this.
Of course.
I never really took the time to go into Reboot on any of the podcasts, so I'm happy JC came up with a concept to talk about Reboot and using this as a tool to help more people understand how they can move forward, because it's a tool. You know, like if you haven't picked it up, myrebootbook.com, get your copy. Like value. Let's keep going. Let's keep flowing.
For sure.
I wanted to say something here too about that. I don't remember if it was in one of the emails, but I've seen it many times from the email list too. But I believe it was somewhere here. I don't know if it was in the beginning chapters, but it was trust the process, right? So just like if we talk about getting in better physical shape, you trust the process, which is you eat better, you eat healthier, and you make your body active. You keep active. You won't see it overnight, but you continue, and it's just those steps. It's again that same thing where you're on that path. They're small steps that you don't see, from one day to the next, but people start seeing it. What was it, Femi? You said that people around you notice the change, and then
so first usually what I've seen, the people around you that you haven't seen in a while end up seeing stuff first, right? Then your family, then you, right? It's kind of like that pattern. Like people that don't see you that often will end up seeing how you change, right? You'll see your physique change. Like your face looks a little bit leaner, your body composition is starting to change a little bit. Like they'll see your body change. And if you're talking about physical activity and being active and healthy, and then it just starts rippling, right? You might not notice it, but your clothes are gonna fit different.
Right.
Like we've had how many people come into the studio that are like, man, I don't see any change. I don't see any change in the scale. But wait, did you have to add notches onto your belt? Like, yeah, I had like 2 more notches. It's been only like 3 weeks. Like, okay, so you might not see the scale change, but you're looking a lot leaner.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then a month later, they're like, whoa, I dropped weight.
There it is.
So, yeah, man.
And that process is also directly correlated to the other aspects of Reboot, whether it's going to be the family and friends or spiritual or the finances. I mean, you might not, and like Jason said about betting on yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you don't have that a big amount to bet on yourself, but you can bet on yourself what you can. Right. I mean, you might be in a difficult spot where you don't have the capacity to do that, but if you bet on yourself enough that okay, well now I've done something with myself. I can take myself to the next level, or I can level up. I've leveled up myself, even if it was just half a level. You've still done something. You've still achieved something, and that's not something to take for granted or to just forget like that. It's something that you build on. You build on, and there are different tiers that really propel you to keep going.
And what's really interesting about this is like, it's not the fact that it's just one person saying stuff, it's multiple people talking on the mic at the same time, which is reinforcing the habits and the patterns that you need to reboot. Like, it's not easy.
I'm actually going to even use that as a segue. You said there's multiple people on this mic. A lot, I could see you in the back there itching and agreeing in the back, man.
I'm just listening to you guys. Honestly, I'm just listening.
But I know you're listening, man. But I know that you can. I know you can relate. I mean, the messages.
All this in.
The messages we got are relatable. Is there anything that you want to just add on in terms of like finding your vision? What does that message resonate to you? And
I feel like for me, the way I can relate the most for the vision is like me, my journey of like losing weight the last year and a half since I've joined New Persona, and like Femi helping me out with that. So that's been beautiful. And like Femi said, first people that are the ones that are gonna notice the change the most are the ones that are not gonna see you for a while, then family, and then yourself. So I can definitely relate to that. That one hit deep. So yeah. That's just something that's just going through my mind.
It's all relatable stuff, man.
100%.
Femi, let these people know again where they can find this book if they really want to understand fully what we're talking about, because it doesn't take long to read this book to find out exactly how close to home that the messages are being sent.
Yeah, definitely. Just like I said, check out myrebootbook.com, and You gotta have that mindset of just rebooting yourself and going forward. I talk to a lot of members in the studio about this. You know, when you walk through that door, you gotta reboot. You walk through that door to come to our studio, reboot. You wake up every morning, you gotta reboot. There's always gonna be stuff that you're gonna face. You know, you just gotta have that mindset of what is the vision, because that's the foundation, that map, that's where you're going towards, so you can move everything in that direction that you're doing every single day to produce that outcome. That's it. We have a vision board right here in the studio. Like I'm looking at what we're working for.
We have
now.
the other one too on the mural of manifestation.
That was Jason's idea. That name, like the mural of manifestation. That's a legendary name right there.
For those of you that are part of the gym, you know all about the mural of manifestation. For those of you that are thinking about joining New Persona and being part of this tribe, just know that we have a mural here in this gym with your name on it.
You better come through.
Better come through. Put your foot in the sand, draw something, write something. Just draw something that you want to manifest into existence, into reality.
Yep, make it happen.
And one of the things too, if you come here and you think, you know what, I don't have anything I want to manifest, you know, there's tons of ideas you can choose from, and something there on that's already on that mural is gonna inspire you or is gonna hit home. There's all kinds of things there that from different people, different walks of life that have maybe been where you are or have something similar. So for sure, it doesn't have to be you walk in with the idea, but you can certainly pick something up here for sure.
Walk out with it.
Yeah,
you might walk in with nothing. Walk out with something. Imagine that. This is actually a good little point to drop in. You can walk into our studio with absolutely nothing and leave with even more value.
I promise you that.
And we're not even talking about the workouts. We're talking about the energy, the motivation, the mindset, the resources you're going to gain being in an environment of people who are on a higher vibrational energy. We could go on this for a whole other podcast episode. But let's keep talking
Let's go into finding your resources, because we're now starting to hint at that aspect of
resources,
of steps to making a breakthrough. That is a key chapter, is finding your resources. It's just as important as finding your vision.
Yeah.
And the thing is, resources, that is an umbrella term. There's so many different directions you could look for resources. Friends and family are resources.
Yep.
Knowledge and education are resources. Physical tools are resources. Spiritual inspirations are resources.
Yep.
All that is what I interpret resources to be. I have plenty of different resources that I don't even know of yet. I'm still finding all the resources I need to make the reboot that I want to eventually make.
For sure. I like that Femi outlines the different resources where you can find them, and when you see that, you're like, I didn't even think of that is a resource. I didn't even realize that the churches or the community centers or these kind of things were something where I can get these resources, and it's broken down into the different levels. Is it finance? Is it friends and family? Is it spiritual, or is it your health? Where can you find all these different things? And there's so many different ways. Like Jason said, you don't even know what the resources are. But I mean, one of the biggest resources that I think is having those people around you, which we discussed earlier on, that the abundance and the blessings that are in your life, they have that knowledge that maybe you don't realize that they have, but they have it, and you don't know that you need it, but they'll give it to you when you do need it. When you all you have to do is just ask or be around those people.
Sorry to interrupt you, Alex, but this is just what's coming to my mind is this is the mentality you have to have when you are looking for resources. Before you can find your resources, you have to start looking for them. And you have to break out of the mentality of it's all on you. Independence is a great thing to have, but you can't let pride and independence block you from looking for the resources you need to reboot. Mm-hmm. That is something that I personally have to overcome myself. And when I really understood that I have resources in all these different areas, I said to myself, what has kept me from seeking those resources out?
Well, I can answer that. I can answer. I think
I'm answering it myself.
Flow.
Yeah. So what's been preventing me from seeking out these resources is a sense of independence and pride. It's just blocked me from really going into the right directions of getting the resources I need to execute my vision to leveling up. What were you gonna say?
No, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Like you have to be open.
Open and available.
Like
vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable and transparent.
Like you can't expect to reboot something or yourself if you're not willing to accept new information.
It can't be done in secret.
Like you have to be open to accept new information. You have to be open to accept something's wrong. It doesn't even have to be rough. Something's not the way it's supposed to be for me. This is not the path. You talked about path earlier, Alex. This is not the path that I'm supposed to be going down. Where can I find the solution? You know, I think what ends up happening a lot of the times when we think about where we are in life, we end up complicating things by having that arrogance or having that ego and assuming that we know how to do everything ourselves. If that was the case, we'd already be where we want to be. You know, you can't... As that same example, sometimes you don't have the plan, the recipe to make that cake.
That's it.
Like
go back to that metaphor.
You don't have the recipe. You might think, oh, I'll just Google and find this answer, but you might find 50 different answers, and it's not the one for you.
A lot of us enjoy that cake. A lot of us don't have the money to buy the cake, but we have the ingredients, but we don't know how to make it. One of our friends might.
Yep.
And you never can, until you exhaust all your resources, that is, and even after you exhaust all your resources, that does not give you any type of path to give up on your vision.
No, you gotta keep going.
Keep going.
I just want to say something that I heard or I read somewhere, but it says, whatever you want in your life is in the hands of a stranger.
Huh.
So we'll just, I guess we could all talk about what that means, but I'll say what that means to me. Like whatever you want, whether you want, that person to do something, or you want that person to be in your life as a partner. You want to get that education. You want to get some business opportunity. It's someone that maybe you know or you don't really know that well, but I mean they have what you're looking for.
Yep.
So if you reach out to get that contact with that person, you can do great things. And you know, even like Jason said, after you've spoken to all your friends and family and resources. So after you've exhausted all your resources, friends and family, there's still that person, that stranger that friend that you haven't met yet, really, that is holding all the keys that you're looking for to your life. So I mean, getting rid of that pride, like Jason mentioned too. I mean, I have that as well. You know, thinking I can just do it myself. That I'm the person who's just going to be able to figure it out, but I can't. I mean, that stranger has that recipe that you just need to reach out and connect with, and take that recipe from them, and make that your own.
That's good. No, I think that pretty much sums it up. Like if we think about, to get access to resources, you have to get access to people. Like it's pretty simple. You know, if you have a goal to drop 20 pounds, or you want to lift a certain amount of weight, or you want to make a certain amount of money, or you want to actually have a better understanding of your self-identity, spiritual awareness, you want to have a better understanding of family, connection, creating connections, better relationships with people, you got to learn from people. You got to either learn by studying other people's patterns. Oh, I'm going to go into the book. I have to calm down. Right? You got to learn either by studying other people's patterns. You got to learn by communicating with people who have more experience than you. Right? A lot of the information in this book, when I talk about blessings and abundance, I've had how many conversations with people? I mean, I've had conversations with potential members. I've had conversations with members. I have conversations in like episodes, interviews, like so many people I've talked to, mentors, advisors, consultants, that allowed me to realize where my resources are, right? If you're not having these types of conversations with people, you can end up sitting on your hands not knowing what you have access to. That's really the truth. It's really the truth.
Yeah, it's sure.
Great stuff, guys.
Don't cry. Don't cry. You're sad.
Thanks everybody for staying locked to this installment of the New Persona podcast. We're off to go set some records and train like a pack of wolves. And if you're interested and dedicated to training your body, spirit, and mind with us, join and sign up at weeklyworkouts.ca. I'm Coach Jason, signing out. See you soon.